And all I have to do now is get my posing routine down more perfect, which is almost impossible to do, you know. It's perfect already. Oh yeah, it's down to a point. Wait when you see it.
Arnold's biggest success came with the release of the documentary Pumping Iron in 1977. The film introduced the world to the underground culture of bodybuilding like never before. But Pumping Iron didn't just showcase Arnold's victory, it also ignited one of the biggest controversies in bodybuilding history.
If you're looking at the movie Pumping Iron, most people didn't know Arnold retired up to 74. George Butler had to entice him out with, George wouldn't give me the amount, Jerome Gary, who was co-produced with George, he told me they offered Arnold $50,000 and I think 5% of the cut of the film to get him to compete again. So if any of the competitors knew at that time that Arnold's being paid $50,000 to compete and then Charles Gaines is going to judge the contest, you know, a lot of them are going to say, what the hell?
The documentary famously highlights Arnold's rivalry with Lou Ferrigno, framing it as the ultimate battle between the reigning king and the hungry challenger. Lou, training in a dim, cramped Brooklyn gym under the watchful eye of his overbearing father, is cast as the underdog, while Arnold basks in the California sunshine, effortlessly joking with friends at Gold's Gym. It's a perfect narrative, the young lion versus the seasoned alpha, but it wasn't entirely true. Ferrigno later revealed that the dynamic between him and Arnold was exaggerated for dramatic effect. The tension, the pressure, and even the father-son dynamic were dialed up to create a story, not just a competition.
If you watch Raw Iron, we interviewed George Butler, the director, and he lays it out pretty well, but they didn't know exactly what the story was going to be. He was really interested in the subculture of bodybuilding, which it was a subculture in the 70s. And there was a lot of guys that were interesting. And originally, which this is something that I spent a lot of time watching this footage, it was originally, if I remember correctly, it was going to be about Frank Zane, because he was the most articulate and he was a very smart guy into health and all that stuff, like before anybody. But then through the course of all of it, somehow Arnold, you know, was in that scene. And as soon as he started working with Arnold and filming him smartly, he realized Zane's a nice guy. We love him. But this guy right here is unbelievable. And then they crafted this rivalry between him and Lou. And Lou was the perfect foil, right? Because he was living in Brooklyn and he was kind of beaten down and in the basement. And, you know, they made him look way darker than he was.
Arnold, of course, knew exactly how to portray the role the film required. He treated Pumping Iron like a stage, and on that stage, he was the villain, a charming, calculating mastermind who was always 2 steps ahead of his competitors.
I remember once when he said, I'm going to give Franco all the wrong advices because he listens to me like I'm his mother. That was right in the film. Well, when that film came out, the friendship between Franco and Arnold almost ended.
Franco is pretty smart, but Franco is a child. And when it comes to the day of the contest, I'm his father. He comes to me for advices. So it's not that hard for me to give him the wrong advices.
And then there's the infamous story Arnold tells in the film. The moment when he claims to have skipped his own father's funeral because it conflicted with his training.
And it was in a way a sad story when my father died, because my mother called me on the phone and she said, you know, your dad died. And this was exactly 2 months before a contest. She says, do you come home to the funeral? I said, no. It's too late, you know, he's dead, there's nothing to be done.
Then we wanted to sell the idea of how cold I am really, and how I have no emotions. For instance, now I took a story that I actually heard in France, one bodybuilder one time tell me, 4 years before, a story about how he never went home to his father's funeral. So I stole that story, and I said, I have to say that story. People will be shocked. People will be writing about it when this movie comes out. And that's how you get, of course, headlines and all those kind of things. And people will write about the movie. That's how we sell the tickets. And I said, as a matter of fact, my father died one year, but just before competition. And my mother called me and they said, are you going to come home to the funeral? And I said to her, why? He's dead already. So I acted really totally cold, and people, it really worked. People were shocked about this. Some of them were appalled by this. And so, of course, since then, I've been getting those questions. Is this true? Is this not true? I mean, did your father really happen? The reality of it is that it never happened. My father never died before any competition. He died 3 months after a competition in 1972, and I saw him just shortly before he died.
The climax of the film, the 1975 Mr. Olympia competition, further fueled the controversy. Arnold's victory, his 6th consecutive win, was presented in the film as a foregone conclusion. Lou Ferrigno, though young and inexperienced, was portrayed as the ultimate threat to Arnold.
As time went on, and I saw that Lou Ferrigno could not be what was in the original intention to make him the villain. He was a big guy, but he did not have the kind of a presence that would make him look like an evil guy that wants to come and destroy me. So slowly we changed the whole thing and actually made him the victim, and made me the guy that pulls the tricks on him and that wipes out the competition year after year. And there was no reason to do a psych-out job on him, because I felt 100% that I'm going to win the competition, because he was just not there at this level yet of competing. He was not ready yet to win the competition, so therefore there was no reason to psych him out. But we wanted to play that he's really dangerous. He could wipe me out. He's huge. He's gigantic.
After Pumping Iron was released and insiders began discussing the event, it became clear that Arnold's greatest rival had been none other than Serge Nubret.
This contest, I was in very, very good shape 12 days before. And when they saw me, the day after, they told me, you cannot compete. They did not tell me why. So I stopped training. I stopped dieting for 12 days. I lost 12 pounds. And then the day before the prejudging, they told me, okay, Serge, you can compete.
Ben's rendition is that he told Serge a couple weeks ago he can't compete because he was involved in these films. Ben's rendition doesn't make any sense. Now, the other side, Serge Nubret's side, and there's another person I spoke to who wanted to remain anonymous. Serge told them that Ben approached Serge and asked him to drop out, because if he dropped out, he would make sure he got all the fairness and all the promotion for next year's Olympia. In fact, it almost guaranteed him a win.
If you looked that good 12 days before, why did you change anything? Why lose 12 pounds?
No, because I was so annoyed about what they said, you know. You know, when you have been training for 3 months for the contest and you come to the country that tell you cannot compete, I stopped eating, I stopped training, I could not eat for 12 days. And I never went to the gym. I went to the gym only the first day when I arrived in South Africa. I never went to the gym again. The day of the contest, Arnold was better than me. But 12 days before, no way. I was 212 and Arnold was 220. I was ripped. And you know, after 12 days not dieting and not training, how many muscle you lost, right? So when I went to the contest, I was 200 pounds, so Arnold beat me. But 12 days before, no way. He could not beat me.
Serge, so let me ask you this. You would go on to take second place to Arnold. Allegedly, as the story goes, you wouldn't sign the release for them to use more footage of you in Pumping Iron. Is that true?
Yeah. They come to Paris to shoot me, to show me how I train. They come to the gym. My wife was waiting, my daughter, Karine, and then everything was perfect, okay? So they shoot everything. And, you know, before that, I did about 15 movies before, big screen movie. And then they wrote me a letter to say, okay, Mr. Nubret, your part is very good, you know. We don't have a lot of money. We can give you $200, okay? If they would tell me, we don't have money, we cannot pay you, you know, that won't be an insult. That would be, say, okay, no problem, okay? But offer me $200, that was really an insult for me. And I said, no, I don't want that. This is why they cut all the thing about me. And they said, the last entry, Serge Nubret, but they come to Paris 1 month before to film me. So they knew I was going to compete.
Even beyond the competitions, Pumping Iron blurred the line between documentary and performance. Director George Butler later admitted to employing several controversial tactics, such as staging scenes and even eliminating competitors to make the film more engaging. The most shocking being his request to remove Danny Padilla from the Mr. Universe competition just one day before the show.
Did they film you a lot of golds also with the cameras, the pumping iron?
Yeah, we were all there. I was filmed a lot, but I got taken out a lot because it was an embarrassment to the IFBB.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
I was stupid. I should have sued. I would never have to work again.
Yeah. Right.
What they did was the morning of the show, I was told you're not competing. The morning of the show. I was eating breakfast, getting ready to get on a bus. And they said, well, you're not going to compete. I said, what do you mean I'm not going to compete? I'm on the team.
Yeah.
And nobody would explain it to me. So I went to Oscar State. And I come to find out later that it was Butler who said, why don't you let the little guy stay out and we can have Ken Waller and Mike Katz in the back fighting for the position. Pumping Iron did that.
Wow.
But perhaps the most outrageous part of Arnold's character was revealed in a recent interview with legendary bodybuilder Robbie Robinson. According to Robbie, the incident took place in one of the famous outtakes from the Pumping Iron documentary, which was filmed at Arnold's house.
All came down in San Jose when we was after the competition was over and everybody was having a big party and everything. We was all in there dancing and I'm a black guy. You're not dancing with no white women. Nobody could even think that would even be possible. And then they was filming all of this, and then the process of Arnold comes in the room, down with the blacks. And he kept blacking this and black. I started looking around. I'm the only black. I'm the only black in the room. So I just walked out, went to my hotel room, went to sleep.
Wow.
And I remember hearing Joe Weider say, Arnold, stop that. Stop that. And as he was saying it, I was already walking out of the room.